She's a New York Times bestselling author, and she's most famous for writing the wildly popular Reverend Curtis Black novels.
And now she's back with another exciting chapter of the Black family saga. Here to talk about her new novel, The Ultimate Betrayal, is Kimberla, Lawson, Roby. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
The Ultimate Betrayal.
Love that.
Yes.
What is that?
Well, it is. Well, of course, we know an ultimate betrayal has to be coming. There's no doubt about it. But it is the daughter, Alicia Black, who is the eldest daughter of my popular Reverend Curtis Black. He is a man who was consumed with money and power and women, and unfortunately, she is her father's daughter. And so she had an affair on her first husband, who was a wonderful man named Philip, with a drug dealer, no less. He ended up in prison. Of course, that marriage was over. She married another man who was a total womanizer. She divorced him. Now Philip is finally trusting her again. Her first husband has asked her to remarry him. Life is great, except at the beginning and toward the end of the first chapter, we learned that Levi has gotten a new trial and he is out and he wants to see her again.
Decisions.
Yes,
So she's
yes.
juggling
Right.
Yes.
So besides her story being so juicy, why did you decide to follow her this time, and what role does the Reverend play in this one?
Well, you know, he has really turned his life around. And so I think that's kind of the irony of this, is that he used to be exactly where his daughter is right now. And so he has lots of problems with the way she's leading her life, and he sees lots of trouble coming because of it. But Alicia wants what she wants when she wants it, and she's willing to do whatever she has to get it.
Oh my goodness. Now, these stories that you weave have amassed quite the following. I mean, millions of books sold. Did you realize what you were embarking upon when you first wrote the novel?
No, never at all, because when I wrote the first two books, they had nothing to do with the church, nothing to do with the Reverend Curtis Black. And so I had always written about real life social issues, and I wanted to stick with that. And so when preparing to write the third book, I said to my husband, I want to keep writing about real issues, those uncomfortable topics that we don't talk about nearly as much as we should. And so he said, what about all of the issues that tend to go on in some of our churches? And I had not considered that, but thought, wow, you know. And so from there, the Reverend Curtis Black was born. I never planned on writing a series. It was my readers who kept asking, what is the Reverend Curtis Black up to? With the next two books that I wrote had nothing to do with him. And so my agent said, you kind of have an obligation to give your readers what they're asking for. What I had not counted on as well was that when I traveled to the cities on tour, readers were telling me the real names of their pastors who were just like the Reverend Curtis Black.
Really?
Yes, that's
What's
what
the
I
most
realized.
scandalous thing you've heard while on the road?
Oh my gosh, well, starting right out with Casting the First Stone, the first book in the series when it came out was down in Alabama. A woman called into a radio station when I was doing an interview and then called me after to see if she could talk to me. Her husband was having an affair. The mistress had been going to the dentist and was using her name in her insurance benefits. The husband was allowing her to do that.
That's deep.
My goodness.
Okay, so now you get all these stories from around the world. So who is the real Black family? Are these your cousins? Come on, you can tell us.
Well, you know, at home, of course, I have to hear that all the time. The women and men will come out to the book signing events, and I'll be signing their books, and they'll say, we know who you're talking about. It's like, no, you don't know. But in all truth, the Reverend Curtis Black is a mixture. He's a compilation of many men that I've seen and learned about throughout the years.
So do people start to worry when you sit next to them at church? Like, oh, she's going to write about us. How should we sit?
You know, that's
When do
it.
we
You know, it's
clap?
kind of hard. You know, as a writer, you sit and you think, oh my gosh, that's so going to be in a book. You know?
Can you ever turn it off? Or are you always looking for that next nugget?
I think I am, without even realizing
Yeah.
it. So, for example, you know, if I see a woman walking across the street and we're sitting at a stoplight, I don't see just that woman. I see somebody hitting that woman, and now she has these two children at home and a husband, and what are they going to do without her? That's immediately where my mind goes. It's the what if all the time.
So what are you
deep.
thinking when you're sitting here right now
I
looking at the
know.
two of us?
She abuses me in the green room. Look,
that's it.
You see the
No.
black eye? We covered up with makeup.
Yeah, that's what's really going on.
the real
You know, they
underbelly.
look great, and he's handsome, and she's beautiful, but, you know, what's the real story? But
Behind
no,
the smiles.
no.
Well, this is actually the 12th book in your series. Do you ever plan on ending this series? Do you have an end in mind?
No, you know what? I'm continuing it. As a matter of fact, I've already outlined a little bit anyway of the book coming out next year, which will continue the series. It will center on Alicia again, as well as her newfound brother, because what they learned last year was that Curtis had a firstborn born that they didn't learn about until he was in his late 20s, and he wants his rightful place as that firstborn child.
Curtis was a Rolling Stone.
Yes,
you know,
he
these
definitely
books have
was.
television and movie written all over them. When are we going to see these on the small or the big screen?
Well, we're hoping really soon. You know, there's interest again, and so there's talks going on, and so I'm hoping that I'll be able to share something very, very soon.
Will you come back and tell us as soon as it happens?
Absolutely. If you'll have me, I would love to be here. So.
This is amazing. You experienced such success, but you actually started in the corporate world. How did you go from behind the desk to a best-selling author?
You know, I did, and you know, I started out in the corporate world. I worked for a financial analyst for the city of Rockford, Illinois, where I live. So I had done nothing relating to writing, but it was those teachers from elementary school all the way through high school, and even some professors in college who had said, you have a gift for storytelling. You have a gift for writing. Didn't pay a lot of attention to it. When I wasn't moving up that corporate ladder the way I really wanted to, that made me think back to that. And so I started writing every evening, every weekend. I did that for 7 months in 1995 and started submitting to agents, was rejected by every single one. Sent it directly to editors at publishing houses, was rejected by every single one. My mom said, I just don't think you should give up. And my husband finally said, you have this background in business. Why can't you start your own publishing company and publish the work yourself? And so he borrowed money from his 401k account. That's what I did. Ended up selling just over 10,000 copies the first 6 months. Right before that, went back to agents, found one to say, yes, I want to represent you. And then she sold my second book to a publisher right in the New York area. And I've been publishing since, and now this is book number 22.
That's fantastic. Now you're paid.
Amen.
I like that. Wrote your way to the top.
Right.
That's right. Congratulations.
Well, thank you
Wow,
very,
that
very
story's
much.
inspiring.
I know.
Perseverance at its
Thank you.
best.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so you'll be back when this is made into a movie or a film,
Yes,
right?
yes,
All
I
right.
would love to
Well,
talk
good
to
to
you
have
again.
you. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
both
much.
so very much. I
All right.
appreciate it.
And you're watching Arise Entertainment 360, and we'll be right back.